Hello, this is Sean Chumbar, and this is my demonstration for assignment number 2, no-code and low-code tools for Gen I use cases. This is for part C, running LLMs on your local laptops. So for starters, we're going to be demonstrating part 1C, which is download Ollama and Gemma 2B model and demonstrate it running on your laptop. So really quickly, I've installed the Ollama tool as per the GitHub repo. So now since we've already done that, we can now run Ollama run Gemma 2 2B. This will now run the Gemma 2 billion parameter model. Then we could do show info, which shows you that we're running Gemma 2 with 2.6 billion parameters. And this is a little bit more information about the model. And I could ask the model, what is Gemma 2? And you'll see here that it basically tells you what it is. The Gemma 2 is running locally in my terminal, and I can say, how are you doing today? And it'll respond. So that is part 1C. Next, let's move on to part 2C. And for this one, we're going to be running Lava. For part 2C, download and run a multi-model with Ollama and show various case capabilities. So you'll see here, I'm just going to go here. I'm going to do Ollama run lava. Now within this directory, there are pictures. And once it starts, I'm going to ask it, okay, what's in the image of picture1.jpg? Tells you that the image depicts a night scene against a blue sky, a dark sky, sorry. And once it's done, let's ask it what's in picture 2. And it mentions that it's a forest. It shows a landscape. It's a forest of different trees with bright green needles. And then if we ask for picture 3, it'll say it shows a person in a suit holding what appears to be a lit candle or torch. Now, if we pull up these pictures, you'll see here's picture 1, which is that night sky and the city skyline that it was mentioning. Here's picture 2, which is that dense forest. And picture 3 is the man in a suit holding the light or a torch, something that's on fire. And that has been the demo for part 2C. Let's move on to part 3, which is the Ollama REST API. So first let's do this. Oh, whoops. Ollama serve. You'll see it's currently running. We're going to go ahead and run. Oops. We're going to go ahead and run lava. And in a separate tab, we're going to curl responses from there. So you'll see here we already have the manifest. This is the pull command, REST API command. And then we're going to use this why is the sky blue prompt. And you'll see here it'll say I put stream false so that way we get the uh, the generated response at the very end instead of one by one. And if we wait here, it'll takes a while. You'll see here that it generated this. And to show you what happens if we take out that stream false variable here, you'll see it keeps generating the response and we get this the JSON and done is false, and then at the very end when done becomes true it'll show us statistics. Now while that's running, I'm going to go ahead and start on part number assignment 2 part 4C. So this is the Google Colab version of Ollama. While this is running, I'll go through this real quickly. We have the setup portion, which checks the Python version, install dependencies, installs Colab Xterm. Then we're going to run the Colab Xterm, and we're going to run some, we have to do some manual steps to install Ollama, serve it, and pull the Llama 3 model, and then run Llama 3. And then you'll see here, I'll create questions. I'll, I'll initialize an instance of Ollama using the Llama 3 model that we pulled earlier. And then I will ask it each of those different questions and we'll print the response. And at the very end, I show the difference of streaming the responses from the model. The 3 questions that we're going to be using is who is the current president of the US? Translate good morning into Spanish, and write a Python function that checks if a number is even. So if we go up here, the setup portion ran. We're going to run Ollama in Colab Xterm. So first thing is running the installer. And while this is running, I will showcase that part 3C is done, and you'll see here we have eval count, eval duration, and various different total duration, various different variables here showing that. So that's part 3C done. Let's go back to part 4C. The installer is complete, so now we're going to run Ollama serve. Oops. Here you go. Give it a second. Ollama serve and Ollama pull Llama 3. So we run that. It generates a new private key. It extracts the files. And once this command is done, we're going to run Ollama run Llama 3. So now we run Ollama run Llama 3. It pulls the manifest, and it takes a while. And so once that is done, you will see that we can now run the questions for the LLM to answer. So let's give it a second. It takes a little bit. Okay, it's running now. So now we can create the questions that we want to ask, initialize the Ollama model, an instance of the Ollama model, and then we'll ask the response to question one. Who's the current president of the United States? The current president of the U.S. is Joe Biden. Response. We'll ask a question two. Translate good morning into Spanish, and the response is the translation of good morning in Spanish is buenos dias. And lastly, question number three. Write a Python function that checks if a number is even, and you'll see it's generated that Python function. And to show you how different it is, if we stream the responses from the model, we can see here that as it's generating the response, we get that. And that's the end of part 4C, the demo for part 4C. Let's go ahead and move on to part 5C. So for part 5C, this is the portion regarding Open Web UI. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run a Docker command to ensure that we install Open Web UI via Docker. It's the easiest and quickest way to do this. So it's already in use. Let's go ahead and remove that. Oh, it's actually running. So now that it's running, we can go to localhost 3000. And let's open this up. We can now go to localhost 3000. You'll see here, I've already logged in. I've already created credentials. We can select the model. Let's say Gemma 2 and say, hello, Gemma. How are you doing? I'll ask it to explain Gemma 2B to me. It basically says it's a Gemma, this type of large language model. 2B refers to the 2 billion parameters in Gemma's architecture. And that's essentially how part 5C works. That has been all the parts demoed. Thank you very much. Have a good day.